Hello everyone, how are you doing? I hope that you are doing so very well. Today I'm here to talk to you about Carve the Mark by Veronica Roth. This book was sent to me by HarperCollins and they are sponsoring this video. However, all opinions are my own, as you will see, because there will be positives and there will be negatives, just like there are in any review video that I do. This book is being released January 17th of 2017, and in light of that, this review will be spoiler free. I will not be talking about any of the spoilers because that would just be cruel and unusual. So let's just jump right into talking about this book. As per usual, I'm gonna stick the book up there because I like to use my hands when I talk, and having a book is a little bit hindering for me. First up, let's talk about what this book is about, because before I got it, I honestly had no idea. I knew Veronica Roth was writing a book, and I knew it took place in space, but that's about all I got. I'm also sorry if I butcher any of the names. I looked at some of the pronunciations, but I can't guarantee that I'm not gonna just use my pronunciation I used while I was reading it. This book is about two different main characters named Syra and Akos. That's how you say his name, but I'm gonna say it like Akos. That's what I read it as, and I feel like I'm just gonna end up slipping back into that. These two characters come from two different sides of the same planet. The planet has been at war for a very long time. One side is Shotet and one side is Thuve. Shotet is ruled by Rizek, and he's pretty much the worst. He's a tyrannical leader, and Syra is his sister. Akos is from the other side of the planet, Thuve. They're a lot more democratic. We start off in Akos' perspective, seeing a little bit of Thuve, but then some crazy stuff happens and he is kidnapped, and he and his brother Elijah are taken to Shotet. And in Shotet, like I said, Rizek is the worst, but Syra has also come into her current gift, which is part of the magic system. Some people have current gifts, and hers is that she causes pain to anyone she touches, and she also feels that pain all the time, like she is constantly in pain. So the book is about those two characters for the most part, and their interactions and their dealings with each other, and their character growth over time. Their planet is part of an assembly of a lot of different planets, so there's a lot of different space names and a lot of different planets that are talked about. It definitely has that sci-fi vibe, that sci-fi feel, and there's a lot of space feeling in general in this book. First up, let's talk about the things that I loved. Number one, these characters. I could rant and rave all freaking day about the characters in this book. Specifically, the main characters, Syra and Akos. They're so well thought out, they're so well described, their character growth is phenomenal throughout this book, and I just love them a lot. Syra is freaking BA. She is so cool and so amazing. Throughout everything she deals with in her life, she's still so strong and amazing, and I love her a lot. She undergoes so much growth in this book, and it's so great to see. I love her a lot. Then on the other hand, we have Akos. He is my baby. I love him so much. The main thing I love about him is that no matter what happens, he has hope. He always has hope. He always sees the best in people and hopes for the best in people, and it's so encouraging and lovely and wonderful. Just everything. Like I said, the character development for these two characters was so good. How their interactions with each other developed and how they personally develop was just so well done. I feel like that's where Veronica Roth really shines, in writing characters that you just love and you want to know more about. They're just so well fleshed out and well thought out, and that's where she really shines, is making you love the characters. Like I said, could rant and rave about these characters all day. They're so great. I love those two characters so much. The plot was a little bit 50-50 for me. The main overarch of the plot I really liked. I liked where it went. I liked how things happened. It is a bit boring at the beginning because you don't really know what's going on, but it really picks up towards the end and it gets a lot more intense, and there's a lot more craziness towards the end, and you're like, what's happening? What's going on? And even though it wasn't perfect, I overall liked it. I really liked the representation in this book. We have a main character that is a person of color, which is so awesome. We've also got some LGBTQ+ representation. It's not a major part of the book, but it's there. I'm not going to say anything more because spoilers, but I will tell you it is there. I mentioned this earlier, but part of Syra's gift is that she feels pain all the time, and it was really different to see a character that is in constant pain. I know chronic pain is something a lot of people deal with, but I don't know that I've ever read something where someone has chronic pain. Even though this is a magic type situation, Syra lives with chronic pain, and you see that in her life and you see how she deals with that throughout this book. So that was really good to see. World building is another 50-50 thing for me. The parts that I liked were the space parts. There were certain scenes and certain things happening, mostly towards the latter half of the book, that were so vividly described. I could picture it and I could see things happening, and I was like, oh, that is so cool. Anything to do with space, I really liked it. Now we're gonna move into things that I did not like. The main thing that I didn't like was the timeline of this book. It was really hard to follow what was happening when, how many years or days or weeks or months were passing. You kind of had to guesstimate where things were going and what was happening at different points in the book, which was a bit confusing. The last 3/4 of the book, I still don't really know how much time spanned that whole section because I could not tell. Back to world building, I said it was 50-50, so we're gonna talk about the other 50. It was just generally very confusing. I loved the characters, but everything else was just like, I don't know what's happening. There's not a lot of info dumping in the sense that the world is explained to you and spelled out for you, but there's a lot of planets and political things and random situations mentioned at the beginning of the book that you don't understand what's happening, and you don't really ever get a full explanation for it. It's not classic info dumping, but world building talk starts happening and I didn't really understand what was going on. I see potential and I was really interested in stuff like the magic system, but I also just had a bunch of question marks over my head the whole time. I was just like, what? I don't know. I don't understand it. Towards the end of the book, I started to get a better grasp on things like the magic system, but I still never fully understood anything, I don't think. Also back to the plot, 50-50, like I said. Overarching plot, really great, but the devil's in the details. There are different details and things that happened, especially towards the end, and it would feel like it needed to have had some groundwork earlier in the book, so it was like, oh, that just kind of happened out of nowhere and I don't really see the connection, but we're gonna go with it. As for the characters, like I said, I loved the characters, but these side characters kind of fell a little flat. I liked Ryzek as a villain, but he wasn't really fleshed out, and none of these side characters were very developed. It just felt like they were there to move the plot along, and that is it. Now for some final thoughts. My rating for this book was a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Overall, I really liked it. I am very interested in the next book. I'm definitely going to be reading it, if only to see what happens to Syra and Akos, because I love them so much. Guys, you don't even understand how much I loved them. I can see a lot of potential and a lot of good things happening in a second book. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see how it is, but I'm hopeful that it will be good. Like with any book, there are good things and there are bad things, but if you like sci-fi and you liked Divergent and you like stuff in space, I think that you'll like this book. If you like books that rely more heavily on characters and character growth rather than plot, you will definitely like this book. That's really what I like, and that's probably why I liked it, because I enjoyed character-driven books more than plot-driven books. Thank you again to HarperCollins for sending me this book and for sponsoring this video. If you want to pre-order or find out anything more about this book, I'll leave all the information down below and you can go check it out. Remember, in stores January 17th, 2017. If it sounds interesting, add it to your list to buy or just pre-order it. The easier the better, right? Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Is that spoilery? I don't know. Try not to say spoilers, y'all. It's really hard.